Welcome back to another episode of our 31 Animals in 31 Days series. It is now the 10th painting and the 10th video I have produced this month. I've learned so much. We are almost at 100 subscribers, which is mind-blowing. Thank you guys so much. That's so fun. And yeah, if you want to see how I painted day 9 snail with some cool texture in the shell and on the body, you can check out that video in the cards above. Today we are going to be painting a swordfish. So this is very similar to a lot of the work I did last year at the challenge, and I'm really excited to paint it. This one's not even from a reference photo. I couldn't find good reference images of a swordfish, so I have combined images from my marine biology network that I have of dead animals and made something up. So we're gonna see how this one goes. This is a lot more of a discovery kind of painting, and you have to use your creativity and imagination and try and really match different color patterns to where you think they'd be going in the animal. So we are going to go and paint the swordfish and see how it turns out. And one of the things that I really watch for when I'm painting from dead animals and changing their positions is trying to get the proportions correct. So I've checked the body position of similar fish species, and we've changed the fins and the length of the sword to match what it should be for swordfish. So it's not as anatomically correct as going from an exact animal reference image, but it's pretty close. And we're gonna go play around with the coloration and see what we can create. And we'll get to it. So uniquely for this video, I've decided to include some clips in real time, as well as some clips in time lapse, just to get a bit of variety in here. So yeah, we're gonna start blocking in the background. I was gonna go with the white first, but then I decided I wanted to paint the edge first because I always smudge my chalk with my hand as I go. We are working on a blue color. This is just, I think it's ultramarine blue and then a bit of Payne's gray. So it's very, very vibrant as a blue color. When I'm doing underwater paintings, I always make sure to save the background color because I use it to kind of create the roundness of the animal. So anytime I have this more blue tone that looks like it's from the background, that's actually that exact color that then I've just slightly modified for stuff. So I just put it on the underside of the swordfish because I really want to try and create that roundness. And when you add the background color around the edges of underwater paintings, it helps make it look like that part of the animal is further away. And then right in the center, the part that's closer to you, because it is a round body, is the brightest. So this is kind of what we're doing. We're making sure the center of the fish is really bright, and then it kind of curves to get more blue around the edges, and that's because there's more water in front of the edges. So that's just a cool tip to make underwater perspective animals feel a little bit more three-dimensional. I'm using a few different brushes when I'm doing the patterns in the tail. Right now I'm using a filbert brush. It's actually a pretty old filbert brush, and then I switched to a kind of better one. I'm also switched to a liner brush here to get even finer lines once I kind of felt happy with like how I was gonna map it out. And I just go back and forth between adding lines and then adding what color I think they're gonna be. And it's hard to see on camera, but with the transparent paint, you actually look through all the layers of the paint, so you can see these different layers of texture in person. So the paintings always look 10 times better in my studio than they do even when I photograph them. And that's just because you can really see the light bouncing off the different layers of paint in this style. It's kind of not really that comparable because the green's so vibrant, the blue's so vibrant. It's great. Liquitex soft body paint is amazing. Very vibrant. My ad for them over. We are now on to kind of color correcting the rest of the fish. I wanted to add it a lot more lighter, and I've kind of blocked in the rest of the lines for the fins and the general pattern that I wanted to put them in. And I'm using the top edge because we're gonna get that light reflection off of it. So I kind of line the outside in the lightest color I want to go for, and then I put the darkest color in, and then I slowly have created a gradient from that really light color to the darkest color. Then I've added a white line at the very end of it. And swordfish have this beautiful line texture kind of coming out from their gills. I could see it a lot in images of caught swordfish, especially on boats when people are holding them up. They kind of have this really unique pattern that was pretty identifiable to the species. So I wanted to catch that. Now I'm doing a wash in white to try and pick up some of that texture on my canvas. This is a really good trick with like anything that has scales to try and bring out that kind of light glinting off of different parts of the animal. Oh, and the eye was really fun to do. It was really hard to paint a fish eye. I looked at so many photos of fish eyeballs to try and figure out what to do there. And I don't know how to get an expression in a fish, but I wanted it to be looking up at the surface because that's kind of the direction he's swimming. So I think we got that look down at least. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what kind of expressions that fish have per se, but it was definitely harder to do their eye than other ones because it kind of looks just really surprised. And then I changed the glint a few times where it was. But yeah, so now we're back to creating the fins. You can see I do a highlight line and then I do some dots of white along it. I've done that on the top edge of the top edge of the fish and also the top dorsal fin. I'm going back and adding even more white to kind of highlight some of those scales. And I'm doing this in a bunch of little dots. So here's it in real time. It's really just like a slow flickering motion. This is my oldest filbert brush that's really splayed out at the edges. There's all these like tips of if you boil water, you can save your brushes. I like having variation in how sharp my brushes are because I use them for different things. So I really enjoy having one splayed out like this. And this is me putting in a wash of that green to try and make it stand out a little bit more. And I don't think I caught it on film, but I also go back and I do it with the blue edge. I put another wash of blue on the top just so that the fish looks a bit more vibrant. I hope you've enjoyed this video of watching me create a swordfish from scratch, and I hope to see you around the internet really soon. If you want to check out the rest of the videos in my 31 Animals in 31 Days series, you can check out the playlist below, and we'll talk to you guys around the internet, in the comments, on Instagram, wherever, very soon.